Are you new to the pellet grill world? Maybe in the market shopping for one. In this video, I'm going to give you the 12 mistakes that pellet grill owners make, and as a bonus, I'm going to give you 3 extra tips in the end. Let's get into it. Real quick, before we get into today's video, just want to give you an update on the Grease Shield giveaway. That contest is officially closed. Our winner is Jim Killingsworth. Thanks for watching. We'll be shipping that out to him this week. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Patio. My name's Jake. You're watching Rum and Cook. Today on the channel, we're talking about pellet grills. We're going over the 12 mistakes that pellet grill owners make. Now, it doesn't matter if you've got a Yoder like I do or you've got any other brand on the market. These mistakes are common across all brands. You're going to get some value out of this. Let's get into it. First one, super simple. Not letting this preheat long enough, right? If you had a gas grill or charcoal grill, you don't wait till it gets up to your target temperature and you throw your food on right away, do you? No, you wait a little bit of time, you let it get heat soaked, especially if you're searing something you want to get that grate to suck up that temperature. This is the same thing. You've got to let this heat soak, you've got to let the temperature stabilize, get the controller into a spot where it's happy. You've got to wait 20-30 minutes. If you do that, I guarantee you'll get better results. Mistake number 2 is not keeping your temperature probe clean. What happens is, most of them are over on the left here, some of them are in the center. This guy right here, this helps regulate temperature, right? If you take a Brillo pad and you keep it clean, whether it be a Brillo, Scotch-Brite, green one of these, whatever it is, steel wool, what you want to do is you want to keep that clean. When it gets a little bit of black on it, the temperature is slightly off. If you're using a real sugary barbecue sauce, the temperature is way off. So all of a sudden you think you're set at 275, meanwhile your pit's running to 230 and you're wondering why it's taking so long to cook. So not only are you not going to get the results that you're looking for, but it's going to take a lot longer to cook. So make this part of your routine. Just go in here, give it a quick scrub off, and that'll ensure that you've got accurate temperatures. Mistake number 3 is not keeping your firebox clean. These things burn wood pellets. As wood burns, it produces ash. At the end of your cook, your firebox is going to be full of ash. Before you start your next cook, every manufacturer out there wants you to start with a clean firebox, whether it be a brand that you can take the fire pot underneath and dump it out. Sometimes you've got to take it apart and vacuum it. Sometimes you've got a little door you can get in there. The Yoder has this tray that goes in there. I just grab the tray, dump it off the side, and then let it go. Now, there's still a little bit underneath of that tray. If that gets built up, I will take it apart and vacuum it out. But I found that you can kind of cheat a little bit, get a few extra cooks before you got to break out the vacuum and just dump it off to the side. No matter what brand you have, you want to start with a clean firebox. That'll ensure you get a clean startup and no burnouts. Mistake number 4, not using a good quality pellet. Now, pellets are your fuel source. They are also your flavor source. They're very important to the outcome of your product, right? Pellet grills are not known to put out the most smoke in the world, so don't make it worse by using an inferior pellet. Now, everyone is in the game. Kingsford just got in the game, right? They've been making charcoal forever. Now they're in the pellet game. There's a lot of different brands out there, and all of them are using different wood mixtures. Some of them are using some oils. There's big differences in the quality of smoke they're going to put into your food. All this week, I actually have boxes of pellets arriving. And what I'm doing is I bought all hickory from some different brands, and I'm going to do a test to see who puts out the most smoke, and that's going to be the product that I'm going to use. If that interests you, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell because it's coming up soon. We don't want you to miss it, but it's going to be interesting because pellets matter. Mistake number 5, not keeping your pellets dry, right? These things are made up of compressed wood. They're nice and hard. When they're dry, you get these things wet and they turn into a mush. That mush is going to jam your auger and make it a nightmare. So, you know, for me, I store mine in the garage. Garage is nice and dry. If I have an open bag, I tend to wrap it up tight and just put it in a bucket so nothing can get around it. However you want to do it, some people put them into a container, but just make sure you keep them dry. It will avoid a lot of headaches. Mistake number 6, not following the manufacturer's recommendation of starting with the lid up. Right, these guys, you turn them on, the auger starts up, the igniter starts up, the pellets come into the firebox, some fireboxes in the middle, some are off to the left. As that igniter is starting those pellets, vapors are coming off the pellets, there's smoke, There's a reaction happening there before there's flame. Look it up on YouTube. You will see videos of pellet grill explosions because someone didn't start with the lid up. Now, it is rare, but every manufacturer tells you start it with the lid open. It's easy. Just hit the start button and open up. And what you do is you wait till you start to see whispers of smoke and close it. You're good. Mistake number 7, not cooking at a low enough temperature. Right? If you're out there watching videos on Kamado grills or stick burners, a lot of times they're up in that 275 range. On this guy, you want to be a little bit lower if you want to get smoke into the meat, right? They already don't put in as much smoke as those other products do. So if you bring down your temperature a little bit, the meat's going to cook longer and it's going to allow it to get more smoke. So bring your temperatures down. Don't be afraid to start it at 200 or 225 for a long time, and then bring up your temperatures if you're running out of time, or you feel like it's got enough smoke and you want to just get it done. Mistake number 8 follows 7 very nicely. They go hand in hand, and that's cooking on time and not temp, right? Every cooker out there, every pit cooks differently. Every piece of meat is different. There's different thicknesses, size, weights, amount of fat inside that meat. Everything cooks differently. Learn to cook on temperature, right? If you've got a pellet grill, you probably have at least 1 or 2 temp probes. Use them. They're there for a reason. Learn your temperatures and forget about, that pulled pork that needs to be done in 6 hours or it took you 11 hours. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. You want to learn to cook the temperature, learn your temperatures, and that goes right through to cooking chicken or pork chops or something like that, right? Chicken's done at 165, pork is done at 145. Learn your steak temperatures. Temperature is important, and the more that you learn about temperature and how to look at your food, the better product you're going to turn out. Mistake number 8, worrying about temp swing. Now, I don't care what pellet grill you have, they all have temp swing. If you have a stick burner, they have temp swing. In the stick burner world, right, you've got different sizes of wood, you've got different wood densities, you've got different wood moistures. Maybe you're in like me, you're having rum and coke, and you add your wood late, right? You're gonna have an ebb and flow. Pellet grills have an ebb and flow, right? Manufacturers can show you whatever number they want here, but most of them have somewhere between a 10 and a 30 degree flow that's normal. I guarantee you that you are not going to notice the difference in your meat. Stop focusing on it. You're getting obsessed for no reason. You're just wasting your time. Focus on learning your temperatures, and I guarantee you the swing is not going to matter. You're going to turn out a great product. Mistake number 9, very similar to 8, but that's chasing temperatures, right? Some people, they see the temp swing or they see it get too high and they start changing their dials to try and outsmart the computer, right? Majority of the new pellet grills on the market are PID controlled. They've got some intelligence in there and they're monitoring that temperature. Yoder looks at the temperature every half a second. They work on a 4-minute average. Everyone kind of does it differently unless you've got an older pellet grill where it's a time and it's a fixed amount, but they've said, all right, if we're gonna run it 300 degrees, we're going to turn this quickly and we're going to put this many pellets. Most of them are PID controllers today, and you're not going to outsmart it. Leave it alone. Put a piece of tape over it if you need to, if it drives you insane, but set it at 250 or whatever you want, and then don't chase your temperatures from that point unless your company's coming early and you got to get it done early. Mistake number 10, not keeping an eye on your pellet hopper, right? When this is full, all the pellets flow into the auger, no problem. But as you get lower, some units have an issue where the pellets will they kind of grip each other and they build a little wall and they won't come down, and then you get a flame out. Now, I haven't really noticed too much of that with the Yoder, but I typically don't run it when it's super low on pellets. I just fill it up and let it go. But when you're doing long cooks especially, make sure you're keeping an eye on this. Last thing you want in the middle of a cook is a flame out. Just dump in pellets, fill it up, and walk away. If you're running low on pellets, just come in here and give it, they call it a stir. Just move your pellets around, and then that way they're not sticking to each other, and they're gonna flow into the auger properly. Mistake number 11, not realizing that the top shelf is gonna be cooler, right? Not everyone has a top shelf, but most brands do. But you know, how do these work? We've got a firebox, the yoder's off to the left, many of them are in the middle. That firebox is protected by a diffuser tray or plate of some sort. Fire hits that, the heat kind of spreads out, and then we've got a fan that's moving that heat around like a convection oven. Up here, you're further away from your heat source, so it's going to be cooler. So be aware of that. The only exception, little caveat, is right here near the stack, right? Air circulating around, it comes through the stack, and as it picks up speed here, this is a hot spot. But outside of that, this is gonna be cooler, right? Yoder, this is the half rack on the yoder. It comes with a full rack, but let's say I've got, you know, 4 pork butts on here, I got a couple briskets or whatever. This is why you want to learn to cook the temperature, because you want to monitor these temps, and you may have to flip them around halfway through the cook. Not a big deal, takes 2 seconds, but lots of people forget about this, and all of a sudden, down here is done way before this, and you're scratching your head wondering why. So monitor your temperatures and just realize that you're further away from your heat source, so chances are it's going to be cooler up here, and just compensate for it. No big deal. Mistake number 12, our last and final mistake, not keeping your pit clean. We talked earlier about the firebox and the fact that it's got to be vacuumed out, and you got to keep that clean, but you know, you're going to get ash all over the place. The one thing about a pellet grill or pellet smoker is they do require some extra maintenance, right? You've got to get a shop vac, vacuum them all out. In addition to that is on the side of this guy, the right side of this guy, there's a grease bucket. And what happens is you're cooking briskets and pork butts and things like that that are fatty, juices are dripping onto the diffuser plate, and it's sloped down. And the goal there is that it'll all go into this grease bucket. But there are different channels depending on your pellet grill where that grease will go into, and you want to take a scraper and keep them nice and clean. That way the grease flows away from your fire source, right? Last thing you want is a grease fire. So keep the inside clean, and that'll just make your life easier. Do it once a month. I'll put a link up here to a deep clean video that I've done on the yoder specifically, but again, it applies to all pellet grills. They all kind of work the same, and you got to clean them all the same way. So you stuck around to the end. Thank you, appreciate that. Hopefully you got some value out of this. I promised you 3 bonus tips. Let's get into them. Tip number 1, get yourself a good degreaser, ZEP 505. I swear by this stuff, it works amazingly. I talk about it in a lot of my cleaning videos. And a good citrus base degreaser as well. Great for cleaning other surfaces that are more sensitive, that you don't want to use a degreaser on. These 2 products are really good to have just to help keep the outside clean. I'll put links to those down below. Bonus tip number 2, get yourself some of these guys, right? These actually happen to be the Traeger brand. They have no-name brands on Amazon. You can get them from anywhere. But I talked about the grease bucket. In this case, it's on the right side for the yoder. Well, I don't want to get my bucket all dirty. I let it all dump into here, and then I just get rid of that bucket. Just keeps things nice and clean. Bonus tip number 3, and the last one, other than don't record a video when it's 97 degrees outside because you're going to sweat your ass off. Get a good thermometer, all right? Yes, they've got good, most of them have good temperatures built into them, but you know, if you're cooking a brisket or you're cooking a pork butt, you know, you're going to want to be able to poke around and see what you got. So these are from ThermoWorks. ThermoWorks is a leader in the thermometer space. This one's called, I think it's called a DOT. This is an expensive one. I got this free as a promo. Accurate temperatures just doesn't quite work as fast and have some of the it's not lit up and have some of the nicer features. This is the MK4 version. MK4 started to add some waterproof stuff, and as you tilt it, now our temperature rotates. It also lights up. MK4 is actually end of life now. They just released their one. The one reads even quicker. This reads in about 2 seconds. The other one reads in 1 second. Not a big deal, but that's the new thing, and they're the same price as these used to be. They're about $105 somewhere in there. But these are just great. You know, I use it all the time. Doesn't matter what I'm cooking. You know, lots of people will tell you can do this fist thing and get the figure out what your food is at. I don't care about that. I want accurate temperature readings, so all food I cook, I always take a temp reading. And then if you want to step up a little bit, this is what they call the Smoke X4, and really they've got a 2 and they've got a 4. 4 just has 4 probes. So if you're cooking a bunch of different things of meat, you can have, you know, especially if you're doing some steaks or something like that and you've got different temperatures that your company wants, this is handy. Or maybe you're doing, you know, the Yoder's got 2, maybe you're doing more than 2 things and you want to get extra temperatures. You know, the Yoder you can see on your phone, it's got the FIREBOK app. But this is nice if you don't have a Yoder and you don't have the app built in, because you've got this secondary remote. So this secondary remote, they say works up to 2 miles away. I used to struggle because my house is stucco, and when I'm in the basement, the previous generation smoke, I could never get to work downstairs. This guy now works downstairs, so I can monitor my temperatures, I can set my alarms and things like that. I can be over at my neighbor's on the other side of both of our houses in his garage having a beer with him, and I can still read my temperatures, so I do like that. I don't necessarily use this as much on my Yoder because I've got it built into my phone, but on my other grills I definitely use it. But, you know, invest the money once and get a good thermometer, figure out what you want. I'll have links to these down below. You know, they're a product I've been using. I think I got my first generation long before this one. I probably had the first one for 10 years, and then it finally bit the dust, and then I got this new one. They come in a whole bunch of different colors, but learning to cook the temperature, again, I can't stress it enough, will really step up your game because temperature is king. That's how you know your product's done. So hopefully you got some value out of this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out these other videos that I've done. We're doing a lot, whether it be on the pellet grill. I've got a gas grill behind here. I've got my Kamado grill over there. You know, always doing lots of cooking. So if you like grilling, you like learning some things, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon.